episode for you to watch out for. And of course, before I cast out the topic of this episode, I would like to tell you, if you have started sending in your felicitation, remember, come 14th of April to 21st of April 2025, we will be having the all mega events of Brotherhood of the Cross and Star Tapped, the living breath of God. And still in that period, we will be celebrating the 25th coronation of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, His Holiness Alumba Olumba Ubu. So do well to send in your felicitation. You can send in your scroll bar of not more than 50 to 70 words. Nations, individuals, Bethels, states, wherever, even as a family or a group, you can as well, felicitate. So don't miss out of these great blessings. So away from that, our topic for this episode is business registration and the law. Business registration and the law. So in this episode, you will get to learn everything you would want to know about business registration and how you can go about, registering your business. It might be a very large one, it might be a very small one. Remember, everyone wants to be a CEO. So please do well to stay glued to your TV set, grab a pen, grab a paper, because you will be learning a whole lot in this episode. So let's start with Sister Emanuela Manasseh. Let's get to know what business registration is, and of course the possible benefits of registering one's business.
Hey, thank you very much. I must say that I'm quite very impressed that we are having this discussion on this topic today, because as we all know, when it comes to business, is one of the vital pillars of our society, as it enhances economic growth and development. It also shapes human lives and, of course, the society that we live in. I mean, when we talk about business, it's more than just profit making. It also goes further to being a driver to enhancing innovation, development, and, of course, transformation, if you would like it. Before we dive into speaking about business registration, I think I have to avail people's mind to the fact that it is not just about conceiving an idea or business idea in your mind. It is not just about saying, oh yeah, I have this business idea I want to venture into, or an enterprise that you wish to venture into. It is also paramount important to ensure that you take steps to regularize that idea that you have. And then here comes the issue of business registration. Because if you just have the business in mind and then you go forward or further to act on doing that business without taking the formal steps to have that business registered, then you would have yourself to blame, because that would be seen in the eyes of the law as illegal. But once you conceive a business idea in mind, of course, everybody's allowed to do business. But the major part of, or the interesting part of doing business is when you have that business legally regularized or legally registered. So what do we understand? I mean, what people would ask are, what is the meaning of business registration? So business registration is basically the official process of legally registering or establishing your business entity with the government, with the relevant government authorities. And of course, when you have your business registered, there are so many benefits that are awaiting you. First and foremost, your business will be legally recognized. Your business, of course, will be legally protected. And what do we mean by legal recognition and protection? In this instance, you will be able to go about your business officially, legally. And in the eyes of the law, you could proceed to do your business lawfully without any legal complications, so to speak. And of course, that is not just the only benefit. You also have the benefit of, being able to access government loans. You can, of course, access grants from different other institutions. I mean, of course, from investors as well. You can have as well open a corporate account, which is very vital when you are into business. Because, of course, you wouldn't want to give your personal account for your client to pay in monies that you've made out of your business, because that would be seen as perpetuating fraud. You cannot do business with Mr. A and pay money into Mr. B's account. Doing business with Mr. A, for instance, A&A Ventures or A&A Limited, you have to pay whatever proceeds that comes out of that business into A&A Limited account. So this is where the opening of a corporate account becomes a paramount importance. And of course, that is not the end of the benefit. We have several other benefits. So let's take, for instance, once your business is registered, because we have so many types of businesses that can be registered, but we will get there, So let's just limit ourselves to business registration, the benefits that comes, or the importance that comes with having your business registered. So another factor, another benefit that you can derive from registering your business is also the fact that your business would be clothed with a separate legal entity. And this particular benefit relates to this type of business that is known as the limited liability company. So with this, in the eyes of the law, your business is separate from you as a person. Your business is assumed to be a human entity. So of course, yes.
All right, thank you so much.
So I am not done. I am not done. Please let me wrap up. Let me just wrap up. Just 1 minute. 1 minute to wrap up. So as I said, once your business is legally registered, this particular benefit is with respect to those who registered a limited liability company. So their businesses would be severed from them personally. Their business, of course, or their companies can buy properties. Their companies can sue and be sued. Their companies too, of course, can incur liabilities. And in these instances of incurring liabilities, their personal assets is being protected. So what do I mean by their personal assets being protected? This means that where or whenever their business, is faced with debt, their personal asset cannot be used to repair their business debt. So their liabilities is only limited to the business assets. And then, of course, the next business benefit is that you will be seen in the eyes of the public as being credible. So this is where credibility and honesty, of course, comes into picture. So once your business is legally registered, you will be seen as someone who is potentially credible. And of course, when you are credible, people want to invest in your company. But if you fail to register or give your business a legal backing, nobody will want to invest in your business. And of course, the aim of business is to make profit. So if at the end of the day you are running business, nobody invests in it, then of course you know that you're not going to make any profit out of that business. And what then are we doing business for? We are doing business in order to grow from that business, to make profit, to gain, and make more money. So if you do not register and people are not investing in your company, that of course will amount to a challenge. So there are other several benefits that we want to look at into as well. We have a benefit of, as I said, government loan. So once your business is registered, you will be approved of government loan. So you stand a higher chance or an increased chance of getting loans from government. Not only government, of course, you can proceed to get loans from even companies, banks, corporate sectors, international operators, and of course, what have you. So once your business is registered, you have or stand a better on an increased chance of getting loans from these institutions. Of course, as well, if you get loans, this is a better opportunity. We all know that finance is one of the major ways you can run your business. It's one of the major requirements to run your business. And of course, getting access, feasible access to bank is an easiest way of being able to raise capital for your business. So of course, once your business is registered, you have a better opportunity of getting loans from these institutions. And not just loan, there are also grants. We have several operators, business operators that are running grants for people. So what we mean by grants? Grant is some fee that can be given to you, some money or seed. Some people will call it seed. It's basically money. They're all talking about capital that they want to give to you to start up your business. And if your business is not registered, sorry, because you will not be marked as being qualified or eligible to get this seed or this capital to run your business. One of the institutions that do give grants is the Tony Elumelu Foundation. That's the TEL Foundation. Of course, there are a lot of businesses that
we'll still come back to that.
Grants.
Can you hear me, Ma? Adrella will still come back to that. Yes, you said something that really interests me as part of the benefit of business registration, and you highlighted on protecting, protecting your business. So now, let's say in a situation where there is change of ownership, or maybe the sole owner of the business who registered it based on his own name and his own information is no more. So what then happens to the business? Will there be a change of, is there a medium for a change of ownership or what?
So that's a very, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was actually expecting that particular question. Another benefit that comes with business registration is perpetual succession. Perpetual succession is when your business subsists forever. It has an unlimited lifespan, meaning that your business cannot die. Even though the directors, the members, the shareholders are no more, or there is change of ownership, your business still subsists. The only way that your business can be brought to an end is when there is a compulsory winding up. So compulsory winding up happens to be instances where there is an order of court to bring the company to an end. We call it in the legal terms winding up of the company, or when the members voluntarily decide to wind up the business or the company. And of course, before a member would want to, before the shareholders or the directors members would want to voluntarily wind up the company, the company, there's one requirement that they have to meet, which is when the company becomes insolvent. So insolvent means when the company becomes bankrupt. So when there is bankruptcy, bankruptcy in its ordinary sense is when the liabilities incurred by the company is more than the assets of the company. So they are unable to pay, their debt and all other arrangements that they may have engaged themselves into. So that is when they will become insolvent rather, or bankrupt. And then they may decide to.
Thank you so much, all right, thank you so much. Now you said something, I would like to bring in Brother Sia to this. You said something, or Sister Emanuela said something about grant and loan being given to these businesses that are registered. Now for someone who is just starting a small scale business or a medium, is that set of business, should I say, credible for loan or grant?
It depends.
And if yes, how and why?
Well, one of the essence of a company registration is what we call source of fund.
Okay.
The source for fund to be able to make the business grow. So one of the source of fund is grants.
Okay.
Because of the registration, that's the benefit of registration. They can now source for fund in order to, for example, a Bank of Industries are there to assist registered company, not unregistered company, to grow. There are so many other banks, almost all the banks are there to assist. If you have instruments to be able to present, for example, registration, the incorporated certificate that you got from the CAC, it can qualify you for a grant or a loan. That's what we call it, facility. And that help them to grow.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Now let's look at what types of companies can be registered in Nigeria, precisely.
In Nigeria, we have business name. Under business name, we have sole proprietor and partnership.
Okay.
That's one of it. We have limited liability. We have limited partnership, private limited company, public limited company, unlimited company, company limited by guarantee, and incorporated trustee.
Okay.
Those are the nomenclature.
So would you care to, for the sole proprietorship, how does it come to the picture when you're talking about registering? Then for the private company or something, I need you to place.
It depends on their memorandum understanding. That will tell you what they are and associate. So, for example, a business name is for the sole proprietorship. It is just a person or partnership. So they are. For example, if you go to limited liability, their memorandum will tell you how they will go about it. They are limited by share, So those are those things that would tell the person coming or the company what is their legal standing. So that will make them what they are.
All right, thank you so much. Now let's look at the processes of business registration in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, we have systems of registration. For example, the first thing is the name search. You go for name search. It's 60 days before now. But with technology, it's very simple, because that's why those are one of the benefits of registration. Your name is your name. No other person can infringe on your name. It protects your name. You know, somebody cannot take the name of your company and defraud.
But let's just say, sorry, sir. Let's just say, for example, now you're Brazil and you want to open your business with Asia's group of company,
Yes.
or Asia's multimedia company, and all of that. And then there's someone else who bears Asia. So how can, what processes can they use in, you know, finding out
Good.
if actually Brazil doesn't have any other, or no other external person bears this as a registered business name?
That's the benefit of registration. That's the essence of registration, because the first step in registration is to name search. The CAC will search whether there is such name in their archive, in the system. If there is a such name, they will not register such company except you change the name. That's the first thing. Formerly it was 60 days, but now with technology it's very easy. That is how you talk about how they register. Now it's very simple. You can take let me say 1 to 2 weeks to have your incorporated certificate because of technology. They will search. First thing is to search. Then the next thing, you fill other forms. There are forms you fill. You know, fill forms. You give a business name. What kind of the business are you doing? Type of business, address of the business. You know, those things will come in order to give you legal backing to be able to register your business. There are other forms CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, will give you to fill in order to actualize registration.
Okay.
In order to have benefit from what you have wish to do.
Okay.
Because, for example, what is the nature of your business? Is it farming? Is it engineering, mechanizing? So those are things that they require from you to enable you be able to register a proper company in Nigeria.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir. All right, Sister Emmanuel. One of the challenges some people do run away from, you know, registering their business is as a result of tax paying. So now, how can tax benefit or tax paying be a part of benefit for people whose business are registered?
Okay, so one of the major requirements after this whole business registration, because of course we have the pre-incorporation requirements, we equally have the post-incorporation requirements. So when it comes to tax issues, it comes under the post-registration requirement. So this is when you are done with the whole rigorous process of your business registration. You have your full-fledged company established. So what are you expected to do as a company? Because yes, of course, you are a company, you are making profits. That is what is seen in the eyes of the government, not just what is seen in the eyes of the law or eyes of the government. That is what it is in its actual sense. Run a business, you're making money, you're making profits. Of course, you're gaining out of what you are doing. And remember, we did mention that the essence or one of the purposes of business is to enhance economic growth and development. Of course, it could also enhance transformation, innovation, employment, so to speak. So basically, it contributes to the growth of a country. Now, how do we ensure that business contributes to the growth of the country? This is where the issues of tax sets in. Not just tax that you're expected to comply with after business registration. There are other factors that you must comply with after registering your business. And of course, as time goes on, you must comply with these regulatory factors to ensure that your business is a going concern and ease of business operation. So this is where the tax issues come in. After registration, you are expected to obtain what is known as tax identification number. And if you want to abbreviate that, that is known as TIN. TIN is what will enable you as a company. So if I'm using you, I'm talking about your business or your company. This is what will enable your company or your business to comply with the tax obligations, because every business, of course, has tax obligations and they are mandated by law to ensure that they are able to pay tax. So what will enable you to be able to pay your tax regularly is TIN. You must obtain TIN. That's a tax identification number. We have the FIRS, which is peculiar to the federal. And when we equally have the JTB, which is peculiar to the state. But of course, they are all tax numbers that will be given to you to ensure that you comply with your tax obligations. And we have a lot of tax obligations that can be complied with. We have the CETA, that is company income tax. We have the payee. We have the, a lot of tax, VAT, and all of that. VAT relates to goods and services and all of that. So you have a lot of tax obligations that we have to comply with. So for want of time, we just brushed through. Now, people or companies are always afraid. What if I register as you duly asked? I don't want to pay tax, or I want to run away from it. There are certain tax benefits that is, laid down for companies or businesses. And some of these tax benefits are with respect to when your company would not be allowed to pay tax. So there are instances when your company will not be allowed to pay tax. And if you fall under these categories of instances, then this is where you benefit from, not paying tax. And it is called tax incentives. So they are known as tax incentives. There are certain areas that you may do your business and you may not be allowed to pay tax. Some of these tax incentives.
Does that really work in Nigeria? Does that really work in Nigeria? Certain where you're not allowed to pay tax because you have your business registered.
Of course, they do.
Okay.
It's only that we fail to look into the law. We fail to look into the practical aspects or the operational aspects of the law, because there are some laws that are theoretical and of course they are in practice as well. But some people always want to use the shortcuts, dive out their way so that they don't follow the due process and ensure that the right thing is done. Because trust me, when you have your business and you are doing the right thing, then you would not have any cause for alarm. You will not have any problem. I mean, the government authorities will not be chasing after you and you'll be running helter-skelter and all of that. Once you register your business, ensure that you follow your due process. So these are the due processes that we are talking about. And I mean, they are in operation. They are, of course, in operation. So if a foreign business...
Let me ask you this question before you proceed. Can you hear me? Let me ask you this question before you proceed. Sure, because I feel to some of our audience watching right now, some have the idea of a business, maybe they operate online, and while some, they have it in a store or, large companies and all of that. Now, for someone who does not have a suitable place to do business, maybe he or she is operating online, like, selling his stuff, her stuffs online and all of that. So is that person also credible for registration? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Business is business. Whatever you may term or like to call it or term it. If you like, do it in your backyard. If you like, do it in your bedroom. If you like, do it in your bathhouse or closet. It is called business. So as long as you're making profit out of that business, so as long as you're making earnings out of that business, then you should or you will be able to pay tax. And then let me come to your question. Let me address your question. Now, your question is if these people should be able to, will be able, or they should register, if I must get you right.
And they enjoy the same privileges these other persons who have stores or companies and all of that enjoy.
Exactly so. Like Mr. Sia, my colleague, did mention, Christ Ambassador, sorry, Brother Sia did mention, there are several types of businesses that you can decide, or business structure that you can decide to register under. If you know that your business is a small scale business, you can decide to go under sole proprietorship, which is suitable for such a small scale business. And when we are talking about business name, that is sole proprietorship, because CSC would register, that's Corporate Affairs Commission, will register that small scale business as a sole proprietorship, which falls under business name. You will not, tax issues will be relaxed on you. You will not be so, chased up and down to pay tax. But remember that every individual living in Nigeria, so as long as you're making earnings, you are eligible to pay tax. So if you are registering, or if you are registered as a sole proprietorship, Your business as a sole proprietorship may not take the responsibility of paying tax, but you as a person, because remember, one of the features of business name registration, that is one of the features of sole proprietorship, is that it is a one-man business in a very liberal terms, or in a very layman's terms. Sorry to use that word, but in a very ordinary sense, it is a one-man business. It's a business that is managed and controlled by an individual. And he alone takes, or he or she alone takes full responsibility of whatever comes out from that business, which include tax payment. So his liability is unlimited. So if anything arises that regards or that surrounds his business, he as a person will take full personal responsibility with respect to that. So his business, his or her business as a sole proprietorship, as you rightly stated, what if they are just smaller, they are online and all of that? Yes, they will register under sole proprietorship. But the business as a sole proprietorship is not eligible to pay tax. It's them as an individual on the basis that sole proprietorship is a one-man business. It is a business that is highly controlled and managed by one person, you as an individual. So sole proprietorship in a way does not have this whole separate legal entity, if you must call it that. It's just that, yes, of course, you should fall under a registration, you should fall under a legal backing, sort of. So if issues should arise, if you register your business as a sole proprietorship, your sole proprietorship business cannot sue and be sued. So let's say, for instance, you are Peace, right? So let's say Peace and Peace Enterprise. Peace and Peace Enterprise is a sole proprietorship. That can be registered as a sole proprietorship, which happens to be business name in the general sense. So Peace and Peace Enterprise is not eligible to pay tax, but Peace herself, Peace, I don't know your surname, but Peace Smith, okay, yes, Peace